unless we structurally reform these programs, we won't be able to keep them.
Paul Ryan's budget, I know you voted for it. Overall thoughts, something to start with?
Yeah, we have to start the conversation. I mean, I believe everybody in this town realizes that we have to reform, provide long-term structural reform to the entitlement programs. They're simply not sustainable. So certainly what Paul Ryan has done is he's admitted that publicly in a document, in a budget resolution. I think that's a helpful start, but it is just a start. And I think that's certainly the way I viewed it as, not necessarily am I 100% on board with exactly what Paul's saying. I'm 100% supportive of the fact that we have to come up with a solution and we have to provide structural reform for the retirements.
On Medicare, though, that's where he's been getting the most heat. What are your thoughts on that proposal?
Well, as I traveled around Wisconsin for the last year, I would talk to young people. Unfortunately for me now, that's like 45 and under. And I would ask them, what do you expect to get out of Social Security or Medicare? I mean, without exception, they would say zero, nothing. Now, first of all, it's not fair. They're contributing to the system. But what it also tells you there's going to be a pretty receptive audience for real structural reform. So I don't fear addressing these issues. I think what the American people are hungering for is leadership. I think they are hungering for people here in Washington to tell them the truth. Now, it's not going to be a very pretty truth. It simply isn't. But I think the American people are ready for it, and it's necessary. I mean, this, again, the glide path we're on in terms of our federal government, in terms of federal government spending, the deficit spending, the debt, is simply unsustainable. We are bankrupting this nation. We are burdening our children and grandchildren unbelievably. It's just not moral, and it has to stop.
Democrats haven't proposed a budget. They haven't proposed any plan to reform Social Security or Medicare specifically, yet they're launching arrows constantly at the Republicans. The media, are they giving Democrats a free pass?
Pretty much. No, I mean, the Democrats are playing a political game of chicken. I mean, that's obvious. And they just say, hey, come on, House Republicans, what's your solution? What's your solution? Once you put it on the table, a real, genuine, serious proposal, they just attack it. Chuck Schumer was famously quoted as, we'll just call him extreme. How's that going to solve the problem? Or, up in New York in that congressional district, they run an ad with the Paul Ryan lookalike pushing Granny off the cliff. No, I mean, until the other side gets serious, until members, and in particular the president, the party of entitlement, members of the party of entitlement actually step up the plate, acknowledge the fact that all these promises made, unless we structurally reform these programs, we won't be able to keep them. Until they acknowledge that and then come up to the table, in good faith and goodwill to actually start solving the problem, we're not going to come to a solution.